In this video, we're going to show you how to apply a smooth finish stucco overlay on an existing concrete retaining wall that we recently poured. We're going to be showing you a detailed step-by-step process on how to do this. So please stay tuned until the end so you can see the entire process. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. If this is your first time visiting us and you want to learn how to pour all kinds of concrete work, do overlay finishes with proper finishing techniques, then you're in the best place here on YouTube, since that's all we do. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and activate the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos. This is the concrete retaining wall that we recently poured. Before we apply the overlay on top of the wall, we had to come back and grind down a good portion of the surface area. And then we also applied a thin set coat of concrete, so that way it creates like a really nice smooth finish. So this is after we prepared everything. You can see right here you have the smooth finish on the top, and then you also have the smooth finish on all of the face. This is something that you're going to want to have done before you do the overlay. And in a separate video, we're going to show you how to do this preparation work. So please stay tuned for that. For now, this is already ready, so we're just going to go ahead and apply it. We recommend that you put this cardboard paper on the ground, so that way it protects all the surrounding area. So we just put in tape and put this cardboard paper wherever we're going to access the retaining wall. So this is the material that we use to prep the surface. It's a Dryvit Genesis DM. It's a polymer based adhesive and base coat for the thin set that we need to prep everything. This is the little walkway area that we have it all prepped, and it leads to the backyard where the retaining wall is. We currently sprayed it with water so that it just has a nice wet surface. And this is the material we're going to use, the stucco overlay material. It's also from Dryvit Freestyle 197 mid base, and this is the tool that we're going to use to mix it with. It's a drill that we have the mixing tool attached to it. So once we open up the can, we're going to remove just the upper layer of the surface area, and we're going to put in our mixing tool with the drill. And so we're going to mix it. We got to mix this very well. That's one thing that we recommend right off the bat, because the material has been sitting there for who knows how long. So you want to make sure that you agitate it and mix it. And also, that's the color. We have a color that we're going to put in. It's like a gray, like a light gray color. They call it Stormy Night 452 Stormy Night color. So it comes in like a liquid form. So you're going to want to make sure to mix this quite a bit. So once we mix it up very well and you mix the material, you just want to put it in there, and you just want to continue to mix it, and you're going to tell right away that it's going to turn into the color that the customer chose. So this is like a mid gray color. So once we get all the material put in there, we're just going to mix it for a little while, make sure that it gets nice and consistent. We're going to scrape all of the areas around the bucket, make sure that all the material gets mixed into the concrete, so we have a nice uniform overlay. So you're going to want to make sure to take your time and do this right. These are the materials that we're going to use to apply it. They're just a couple of trowels in different sizes. And we also have this plastic trowel. So this is very key. This is what's going to help us to get the finished look. You'll want to get a plastic trowel like this one, and that's what's going to do the trick. So once you have everything ready, you'll want to spray the surface of the concrete retaining wall. And this is so that way you're going to have more time to work the stucco overlay. And so once you keep the surface moist, it's just going to buy you more time. So this is the consistency that the overlay material comes in. Nice creamy material, very thin. So you just want to get that and you apply it, a thin coat on all of the retaining wall surface. So right here we just get a decent amount on our trowel and we just apply it directly onto the wall. And you just apply a thin coat, a uniform thin coat on the whole surface, and then also on the top of the wall. So you just basically get that material, you put it on the tool right there, and then from there you just want to spread it on a nice even coat to the entire face, kind of like that right there. You just apply it, start at the bottom, and you just work your way up, and then you'll want to fill in any of the little holes or dips that are in there, so that way you have a nice even surface. So this is going to be a rough application. We're going to apply this on all of the area, and the first coat is just going to be very rough, and then from there we're going to work it until we get the consistency that we need. So once you have everything applied there, make sure you have all the areas covered, the top, the face, the corners. Then you just start continuing to work the material, making sure that you remove any excess, and you just put it back into your bucket. And if you have any holes or dips, this is a good time. You can fill those in and just continue to trowel the surface until you can feel for a nice smooth overlay. So this is very key. You want to take your time. This is something that you just got to have quite a bit of patience to do it, because you can't really rush through this process. You know, you really need to take your time. Just make sure you do everything carefully. And this is another close-up of the edge on the retaining wall, and basically we're just gliding our trowel through that area and getting some of the excess material and just filling in those low spots. And we're just basically finessing the trowel on the corner. As you see right there, he's just gliding it from one end all the way to the other, collecting all of that excess material and then filling it in. Once you have the retaining wall somewhat smoothened out and everything, then we'll start using this plastic trowel. Now, this plastic trowel is what's going to give us that beautiful, smooth finish stucco look. Now, in order to get this kind of finish, you got to make sure that you get the proper material. The one that we purchased, that we showed you in the beginning, it's a dry vit stucco overlay, and it's the one that's called Freestyle. So the Freestyle one, it's designed to have the more smooth finish. It's almost like a sand finish consistency. So it has a lot of sand, a lot of very small grains. So it's what helps us to get that really fine finish. So, and then we just added the color to it, and that's what gives us this really beautiful mid-gray color. And it almost looks like if it was a sand finish concrete. It definitely matched very well with the rest of the concrete. Now you can see right there, he's really working that tool, just being very careful. You know, he's not applying too much pressure. He's just letting the tool do its work, you know, gliding it from one end to the other, just kind of working it in a circular motion, and just being very careful around the edges, so that way he can manipulate the little thin layer of concrete. And so he's manipulating the material so that way he can get a really nice smooth surface, and also very crisp edges. So that's basically what he's doing right there. This is very key. He's just using that plastic trowel in a circular motion to spread the overlay material, and that's helping him create a nice even distribution, and just helps him to fill in all of the areas. And ultimately it's gonna have him get that really beautiful consistent overlay with the fine finish. So right there where that hole is, there's a little bit of a low area, so he's gonna come back once it dries a little bit and continue to work that surface to just fill it in a little better. So, and this is done, not too long after we applied the material. I would say within 15-20 minutes. And the thing with this as well is the more you work it, the faster it dries. So you see all this motion right here that he's just running his tool across the material. By him doing that, it's causing the material to dry faster than just leaving it alone. So he can't just, go do too much at one time. He's got to do enough to where he can control it. And then once he has it in the consistency that it needs to be, then he can move on and do additional area. So like right here, you can tell on the left side, it's already getting close to where it's going to be final. And right here, he's, working that material right there and just removing any of that excess, and just continuing the same flow all the way to the end. And he's doing the same circular motion on the surface. So, and then also on the angles, because on the back edge over there, it has like a 45-degree angle, and we just want to make sure that we fill that in so it just, continues the same look. And then also on the front part right there, we're just being very careful to spread the material, and then we're just gonna work that edge, that it's a kind of like a round edge. So that's where you just want to work it, just following the same contour of the wall. And if you see any low spots, you just fill it in with some of that additional excess material. So until you get a nice even surface that, goes from the top cap down to the face. So that's pretty much the process right there of how to trowel the surface and get everything, so that way you can get a very beautiful sand finish look. And we're going to continue this process on the entire wall. Now, our worker right here, he was telling me that right where you see those brackets, for the fence posts, those it took him a lot more time to work around all of those brackets, because he has to stop and then go right in between and all that. So those kind of things, it will take you a little while. And then another thing too that he said is you want to basically put your tool in water and clean it ever so often, so that way the tool stays nice and clean, and that's going to help you make the job a lot easier. And you can really see right here how the wall is coming along, the surface is being smoothened out, and he is starting to fall into place, and so between all of those things and the the labor part, just working the whole area with the tools, that's pretty much the process. And he's just taking his time, making sure that we get a really good quality workmanship, and at the end of the day that the wall will just look very professional, very nice. And here are the final results of how to apply a fine finish stucco overlay on a concrete retaining wall. Look at how beautiful that material just makes the wall look. You have a nice even application throughout the entire wall. You don't see any of the seams or any of the imperfections of the wall that was there before. On the top surface as well, we applied it, so no matter if you look at it from the top or if you look at it from the side or from whatever area, you're gonna have a nice consistent application throughout the entire surface. So this is the results of doing the work, just taking the time, doing it, really enjoying what you do. It really shows at the end result. So that's pretty much the step-by-step process of how you apply the overlay material. We really hope you like this video, and please consider subscribing to our channel, because we're going to be uploading a lot more videos of all kinds of projects that we're going to be doing. We do concrete retaining walls, steps, back patios, driveways, flat work, sidewalks, foundations. I mean, anything that you can think of that is made out of concrete, we pretty much do it. It was a pleasure having you here on this video. May God bless you, and we'll see you on the next project.